Hey guys, Dylan from the Geek Duo here, and today I'll be bringing you my reaction to My Hero Academia Season 6, Episode 12, Episode 125 in total, titled Threads of Hope. Best Jeanist appears and spins together the hopes of all the heroes in this fight, as the climax of the all-out war draws near. So, based on that synopsis, you can tell in the last episode, Best Jeanist made his comeback after having been injured all the way back in the Camino battle between the heroes and All for One before All Might got there. And then we had the whole Hawks going up to him after being ordered by Darby to kill him, and then we just saw his body stuffed in a duffel bag, and that was the last that we'd heard. And then, also in last episode, we had the whole Darby finally being officially revealed as Toya Todoroki. And he reveals it to our heroes and to the entirety of Japan, and brings up the fact that Hawks killed Best Jeanist. So, him showing up for this battle right now, immediately after Darby revealed that, does mean that he's going to be seen. He's going to be seen as having lied about one part of his statement, so it could reasonably be assumed that he's lied about other stuff. Now, not the Hawk stuff, because yeah, he showed a picture of that, but like the other stuff. But anyway, let's see where this episode goes in 3, 2, 1, go. Play. I'm just wondering whether the next big thing comes this episode or the next one. Fucking hell, he's big. Alright, this is going to be the recap from the mid-season break. Well, it's not even from the mid-season break, because, like, it's mid-season for me, but Crunchyroll is 2 episodes ahead when it had the break, so why would this recap be here? This is a really cool montage. Is this a montage or a collection of vignettes? I don't know which was more accurate. But that was really cool. I've heard that the newest episode on Crunchyroll does have a new opening. So we've got this one, episode 13, and then 14 should have a new opening, which indicates that the war ends in the next episode. And then it's probably going to be a connection episode before the arc after. But I am really happy with the way they've done this arc. It's one thing I always said about My Hero is that for the most part it is very faithful. And sure, I have had my gripes with some things, mainly My Villain Academia, but it does stick close enough that that doesn't detract. Like I said, when reacting to it, for what it has, it did good. And so I am very happy with the way this arc was done. There hasn't been as much additional content as there has been in other arcs, but I mean, that's to be expected with just how much there is in this arc. Yeah, everyone. I've seen so many people confused about this aspect of Best Jeanist because they thought his ability was fabric mastery, meaning he had control over anything fabric, but it's fiber mastery. There is a massive difference because those are metal fibers, and he's able to control them because they classify as fibers. To what extent that goes is always a question. Like, is he able to control a crane's arm because there's metal fibers in, like, the supports and all that? Like, to what extent post, um, not manufacturing, utilization, does he lose control? Like, obviously, he has full control over clothes by breaking them apart, but hmm. I love the flaming aura they just gave you. Is this the episode with that thing as well, or is that the next one? That was a delayed scream. You barely ever did superficial damage to her. he's, he's a full madman. He's got his own little bit of All Might, because he did get pierced massively by All for One. So. Alright, the whole plasma hair. I don't think we ever actually saw her utilized like this in the. It's a sandworm. Again, okay, now that one actually happened where it was meant to, but it was so much harder to tell what it was in the manga. You don't need to. Uh, the return of Mirio. Ever since they saved Eri, this was always a thing of why don't they just have Eri give him his quirk back, rewind him to before the bullet, all that. And then just before the war started, um, Aizawa said to All Might, um, Eri's power is growing again. And so, even without that scene right there, it's very easy to put one and one together. That's when it happened. The more you know. You feel the joy of saving people, are you, Bakugo? So everyone just takes to calling him Dynamite instead of the full thing. Though a big chunk of the fandom are still partial to Lord Explosion murder. I completely forgot about that. He used the exact same arguments that he did for Shoto, but with a completely different intent behind the words. Here. Hmm. I have something I want to say, but I also don't want to say it at the same time. So I'll leave it till probably the next episode if I remember. See, that is always the advantage Shoto will have. He may not be as hot, but he can cool himself down. There are several things in this arc that I know lead to other things. And that's when I. Oh, god damn it. So that. Oh, that was a great episode. Oh, that was. That was really good. Um. So there are several things that have been set up these last few episodes that will lead to more revelations in the next episode and in the next arc or two. And, well, I so want to talk about them, but I won't. I just hope I remember to comment on them when it comes to pass, because there are. Let's just say there's been a couple mysteries set up, as well as hints shown that lead into the next arc heavily. Like, they are one of the major showcases of the next arc. And just, yeah. I'm gonna watch this, but I may black it out again. Yeah, okay, there wasn't anything in there that, really spoils anything that wasn't, like, explicitly set up in this ending of the episode, so I don't need to, like, cut it, like, black that out or anything, but, oh, that was such a good episode. Like, I obviously never heard, Oh, I've forgotten his name again. It's pretty sure. Maybe not. It's easier if I just go like that. Jason Lieber. I've never actually heard him do Darby's voice before this season because I've always watched the sub. Like, you've watched me watch the sub for seasons 1 through 5. So I don't know what his performance was like in those seasons. But then again, Darby never actually had a moment like these last 2 episodes before. Like, sure, there was the bit between him and Hawks at the start of the arc, and that's pretty much all I can think of. But his voice acting in that interaction between him and Shoto and him at the start of the episode, just, I am hoping to go back after the season's all out, watch through these episodes again with the sub to hear what the Japanese VA is like, because hearing how it was initially done and then hearing how it is dubbed is very different. So I want to go back and compare that. So you may, well, it probably won't be attached to the final episode because I doubt it'll be for the public then, even though it'll be 2 weeks after Crunchyroll will have had it out. But yeah, so it probably won't be attached to the final episode. I may do a additional reaction comparison to those, but just the amount of emotion, even in just a purely crazed, joyous expression, the amount of different emotions that were able to be portrayed through those, like the speech and the expressions, all that, while still keeping that manic smile and everything in his voice, was very good. I don't know who plays Shoto. David Matranga. I hope I pronounced that right. He did a good job as well. Just between him and Dari, the interactions and all that. But this episode really shows just how far Darby fell. He straight out says, "I can't feel anything anymore." Like, this is probably the best I've felt, knowing that I'm about to kill my brother. I've severely wounded and disgraced my father and will try to kill him as well. I almost killed the brother that I cried my heart out to for his sympathy when we were younger. The only one I actually had a connection with. I almost killed him, and I wanted that to happen. Like, that's what Darby's feeling and says in this episode. And it just shows how far he has gone. And, like, you get Shoto still trying to get through to him. Like, how can you be like this? What happened to my brother? Trying to appeal to all of his last vestiges of hope that there is some love to at least one family member. Like, the only family member who I reckon, well, no, for Yumi and Rei may both be able to speak to him, but if Natsu can't, then probably not. And I do like the callback where in the sports festival arc, Midoriya says to Endeavor, Shoto isn't you. He's like, I'm not All Might. Huh, well, that's obvious. And Shoto isn't you. And that I forget the full extent of it. I just remember that part of the interaction. And then he then goes to Darby here. You are not Endeavor. Basically turning it on his head, saying that out of these ones, Endeavor is the one who is nothing like you. He is his own person. He has his own path that he is forging away from all of the pain that he has caused in the past. And then he says to Shoto, it's your power, not his. And basically putting the emphasis on it being, Todoroki, you're forging your own thing. Use his power to get your own goals out of life. Then he goes to Darby. That is not Endeavor's power. And saying, again, Endeavor, listen to my words. You've heard these before. Your power is your own. What he does with the power he was born with is not on you. It is on him in part with how he got there to that point in life. However, the power is not Endeavor's to take the blame for. And I just love the duality of, initially this was antagonistic to this one person, and now it is to lift up and encourage that same person that it was initially antagonistic to. And just, was it the same in the chapter? I probably overshot it massive. Yeah, well, not really massively. Let's go 295. No, that's almost there. Let's go maybe 3. Okay, so that's the start of Lemillion. Which means that the next part of this chapter is, yeah. So, you are not Endeavor. Anyone could figure that out. It's like, there's no actual comment about. Interesting. So, it's like, I'm meddling because Todoroki is a good friend, and Endeavor is a mentor who made me stronger. Past doesn't just disappear. That's why the present Endeavor is making an effort. That's the Endeavor I'm watching. You are not Endeavor. Anyone could figure that out. But don't you pity the likes of me at least a little? The consequences of the sins committed by a supposed apostle of justice, that's what I am. Evil will no longer prosper. Justice will crumble. All I've done is shown all those susceptible people where to put the blame. Now the future that awaits is clear. And then it cuts immediately to Makio escaping Best Jeanist bonding, and then Endeavor doing a Shoryuken. There is it is Endeavor's power. There's none of the extra comments from Midoriya or anything, at least in this chapter. I'll jump forward to the next one. But again, there is nothing from that. So that was something. I made a comment earlier in this reaction saying how it hasn't added as much as it does to others, and yet it went on this entire referential callback, just completely reshaping the intention of a statement that was powerful in its initial scene and is even more powerful now. And that was completely done by the people who made this. I will double check that if it was Japanese and English or if it was more one way or the other. But well, I guess I'm eating shit for what I said earlier. But anyway, yeah. And I've been talking for I don't know how long. The episode was fucking 24 minutes long. We're now at almost 38. Sure, let's chuck a minute and a half, 2 minutes at the start of that. But that means I've been talking for about 12 minutes, just almost entirely gushing about the interactions from the Todoroki family and all of that, and talking about how much this sets up the future. And I don't think I've done a discussion this long for this season yet. But unfortunately, looking at the time, I do have to cut this short. I didn't even get to talk about like the Miria stuff any more than I did in the episode. I didn't get to talk about the differences between like the best genus stuff. Like we see now that he is very similar to All Might at the start of the series, like using his power for a prolonged period of time, using it in very stressful ways, causes him to cough up blood. He was bleeding from his eyes and everything, and all of that because of the injuries sustained on his body from fighting All for One. But yeah, so I'm gonna cut this here. This has to have been my favorite episode of the season so far, which is funny because it wasn't as like physically eventful as the others. Like there were bigger spectacles done in other battles earlier in this season, and yet this one has to have been my favorite. And yeah, with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one.